recording, recording, finish.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره نعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا من سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله فإن خير الكلام كلام الله سبحانه وتعالى وخير الهدى هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها فإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار وبعد. We continue with the famous book وهو آخر بلوغ المرام كتاب الجامع للحافظ الشيخ والإسلام ابن حجر الأسقلاني رحمه الله تعالى ونسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن ينفعنا به وأن يجزيه عن الإسلام والمسلمين آمين. The last hadith we took was the hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم قال إذا أكل أحدكم الطعام, if any one of you eats some food, إذا أكل أحدكم, if any one of you eats الطعام, some food, and the Prophet he said فلا يمسح يده, and let him not wipe his hands حتى يلعغها أو يلعغها متفق عليه. He said until someone licks his own fingers or he has someone else lick them. This hadith is in the Bukhari or Muslim on the authority of Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And we said that this hadith has a lot of benefits. We said that the first one is that it is a conditional phrase. Anytime you hear either at the beginning, Allah is going to give you something to do with a condition, or the messenger is going to give you something to do with a condition. So here Salaam he said, either akala. We said akala means to eat. Akala. Ahadukum means any one of you. So the Prophet is talking plurality to any Muslim. And plurality, generality to his companions that were there. As kum means you all. And the Prophet he said, at-ta'ama, which is general. There are different types of food. There's food that you eat with the utensil, spoon, fork, you use a knife. There's food you eat by hand. So the Prophet he said, if any one of you, when any one of you eat some food, fala yamsah. Yamsah means he's wiping, from masaha. The Prophet said, fala yamsah yadahu. Let him not wipe his hand. Until when? Here's the condition. The Prophet said, hatta yal'agha, until he licks it, that hand, meaning his fingers, aw yul'igha, or someone else licks it. And we said this, we learned from this hadith that this is cultural diversity as well. Because we live in a society, we live in a time where different people have different views about eating with the hand or not. In some countries, some societies, if you eat with your hand, it's looked at as shameful. If you eat with your hand, it's looked at as being ill-mannered. If you eat with your hand, it's like imitating an animal or being barbaric in some people's view or culture. But however, Salaam is talking about licking the hands, licking the fingers, as they used to have a slogan saying finger licking good about somebody's chicken. It may have been KFC or somebody like this. So here we mentioned this hadith the last time, and we said that the Prophet ﷺ is illustrating licking the fingers, and Imam Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen said that the part about someone else licking your kid, your wife, or like this, or vice versa, the wife's husband, and we gave the example of something being on the hand and you were poor. Something being on the hands and everybody's very hungry, and a situation where the people are starving. Do you think someone would allow that food to go to waste just because it's somebody else's hand or his or her own hand? No. And so, as Imam Muhammad bin Salih al-Uthaymeen mentioned, the point is not wasting any food. And how much food do we waste that's not even on our hand? How about the food on the plate, the food in the pot? So the idea of licking the hand, the plate, the finger, as the Prophet mentioned in another hadith, فَلَا يَدْرِي أَيَّ طَعَامٍ فَلَا يَدْرِي أَيُّ طَعَامٍ baraka, because you don't know which part of the food has the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the special blessing in it. So this is the whole thing. So this was the last hadith that we took the last class. We also, there are a couple of points that come to mind from previous hadith. One of them, the hadith of Ibn Umar that we took, where the Prophet ﷺ said, "La yuqimu rajulu rajula min majlisihi." Do not allow a man to stand another man up from his spot. Don't let a man say, "Get up, you," and you get up from your spot. Don't let a man tell a man to get up from where he's sitting. And then thumma yajlisu fi, and then somebody else sits in that spot. Rasulullah, he said, "Walakin tafassahu wa tawassa'u," in the hadith of Bukhari Muslim. But rather, make space, widen where you're sitting, so that that person can sit down. We mentioned that hadith, and we mentioned some points around that hadith. From amongst the points we mentioned is that the problem here is not that you get up on your own and allow somebody to sit in your spot, but it's when someone makes you get up from your spot and then somebody sits in your spot. And Shaykh Abdul Muhsin, who's from the elder scholars of hadith in the Prophet's Masjid, he said that Ibn Umar used to dislike that someone would sit in his spot. He said, and that's okay, but this is not a proof that it's prohibited for someone to sit in your spot. So let's make sure that we're clear that you can give your spot to somebody out of generosity. You can get up and tell someone, here, no, sit here. But someone else doing that to you is the thing that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam prohibited. The Prophet prohibited that one man tell another man get up, and then someone sits in that man's spot, or you tell a man to get up from his spot and you sit in his spot. But you simply getting up on your own, it's okay. And not liking someone to sit in your favorite spot, it's okay, but this is not a proof that no one should sit in your favorite spot. And this is the point about Ibn Umar. He used to dislike that someone would sit in his particular spot, but that's not an evidence for us to say, you can't sit in that spot, that's my spot. Now, also, inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala, we're working on the writing board because we want to write, and we're going to probably have to get some other equipment that will reach the board for visual, some type of lenses or a camera that someone can work, zoom in so that the writing can be seen on the board, so that the people online can benefit as well as the people that are present. We're working on that, and still working on formulating a handout by which people will be able to easily study and prepare when we take the exam to get your certificate of attendance for this chapter of the book Kitaabul, the Book of Manners. Also, another point from the hadith, what Prophet Salaams said, وَلَكِنْ تَفَسَّحُوا وَتَوَسَّعُوا. Tafassahu is mentioned in the Quran. Tabaraka wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha qila lakum tafassahu fil majalis. O you who believe, when it is stated to you, make space, scoot over. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, then do that. When it's stated, scoot over, make room for your brother or your sister, Allah said, then make space. And then Allah Azza wa Jalla said, Yafsahillahu lakum. And Allah would widen and move things around in your life. The term Allah Azza wa Jalla will widen or move things over in your life or make space, this is referring to difficulty. Just as the Prophet he said, Man nafasa qurba'an mu'minan nafasallah anhu qurbatan. Man nafasa qurbatan. Man nafasa an mu'minan qurbatid dunya nafasallah qurbatan fi dunya wal akhirah. Or kama qala. But the Prophet he said, whoever lightens a burden, whoever removes a difficulty, whoever relieves a believer of a worry in this life, then as a result of you doing that, Allah will remove a difficulty from you, a worry from you, a distress from you in this life and the hereafter. So this, where Allah said, Yafsahillahu lakum, Allah will widen, for you or make space for you. Meaning Allah would lift the burden. Allah would move something that's a problem for you. Allah would make something easy for you, just as you made it easy for your brother by moving over, making space, widening, some room for him or her to sit down. This was a point that I wanted to mention, as Imam Muhammad bin Salih al-Uthaymin, he mentioned concerning the hadith. What time do we have?
7:15.
The next hadith is on the authority of Abu Hurairah. The next hadith is on the authority of Abu Hurairah. Abu Hurairah. And this was the same narrator of the first hadith concerning the 6 rights of the Muslims, Abu Hurairah. We said Abu Hurairah, he is from the southern part of Yemen, and he is the one that narrated and it was recorded the most hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. An Abi Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. I will mention the hadith first and then we will mention it together. An Abi Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم ليسلم الصغير على الكبير والمار على قاعد وقليل على كثير وفي رواية عند المسلم والراكب على ماشي. هذا حديث أخرجه البخاري wa Muslim. So this hadith, Abu Hurairah, he's mentioning, and the Shaikh, he brought this hadith after we already heard from the rights of the Muslims. When you meet the Muslims, you give the salams. And here we are again with the issue of the salams, where the Prophet ﷺ, Abu Hurairah, he said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, لِيُسَلِّمُ الصَّغِيرُ عَلَى الْكَبِيرِ. This lam in the beginning of the phrase li, it's not a, as they call harf jar. Harf jar here meaning in grammar terms something that just changes the structure of the word from uppercase to lowercase. It's not also indicating possession, but rather this lam, as we mentioned this in the class before, when we get the board, we will write these type of notes for benefit. This lam is the lam amr. Lam amr. Amr meaning commanding you something. So the Prophet ﷺ said, يُسَلِّمُ الصَّغِيرُ عَلَى كَبِيرٍ. It is a command for the younger one to give the salams to the older one. وَالْمَارُ عَلَى مَاذَا عَلَى الْقَاعِدِ. And the one who's passing to give the salams to the one who is sitting. وَقَلِيلُ عَلَى الْكَثِيرِ. And the smaller group or number to give the salams to the larger or the greater number of Muslims. And then this hadith is in the Bukhari Muslim with an additional wording in Muslim, where the Prophet also said, وَالْرَاقِبْ عَلَى الْمَاشِي. Raqib, from the word raqiba, to ride. So raqib, the one who's riding. And mashi is talking about someone on foot, he's walking. So the additional word in the Muslim, the one who's riding, has the command from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the obligation to give the salams to the one who is walking. This hadith has a lot of benefit, inshallah ta'ala, we will take. We will repeat the hadith, inshallah, together, then we will give some benefit. An Abi Hurairah. An here, sometimes it means from, sometimes it means away, sometimes it means concerning. Here it's talking about it's coming from him, being reported. An Abi Hurairah.
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 Qala.
Qala.
Qala means he said, past tense. This is what qala means. And when you talk about the female, you add a open tab, qalat. So if you were saying Aisha, you wouldn't say qala, because you're making Aisha a male or a man. Now you will have to add the tab with a open tab, because you have the circle tab, they call it tab marabota, meaning it's a circle. And the open tab, it's like this and with two dots. So if you're saying he said, qala, past tense. If you're saying she said, then you say qalat, you add the tab. Qala Rasulullah.
Qala Rasulullah.
Qala Rasulullah.
Qala Rasulullah.
Qala
Qala
Rasulu. Qala Rasulu. Rasulullah. The Messenger of Allah, he said, لِيُسَلِّمْ Sallam. The command form, you ever heard someone telling his son to you, Salam? He's telling him, give him the salams. So Salim means give the salams to him. So the Prophet is saying, Li, command, Yusallim, emphasizing this, because he could have just said, Yusallim. in the Arabic language. يُسَلِّمُ الصَّغِيرُ عَلَى الْكَبِيرِ. But he didn't. He said li for command, and then yusallim, command again. So it's emphasis. He's emphasizing grammatically how important this is. And remember, we're in Kitab what? Kitab Adab, manners. So this is important. As Rasulullah said in another hadith, أكثر الناس يدخلون الجنة بحسن الخلق أو كما قال. That most people, their reason for entering paradise is not because you should pray every night. And we're not saying don't pray every night. It's not because he gave a lot of wealth. We're not saying don't give a lot of wealth. It's not because you used to fast on Mondays and Thursdays. We're not discouraging these great acts. But we're emphasizing overly, like the Prophet is in this hadith, most of the people who said in another hadith will enter the paradise is because of their good character. That's scary when you know you come from bad character. So here Salaams is emphasizing when he said li yusallim. He could have said yusallim, but he said li, which is the command lam in the language, and then yusallim is in the command form itself, as you have past tense verb, present tense verb, and command form verb. So he used a command form verb and used an article of command for one thing, that is given the salam. So for salam he said li yusallam li yusallam. Now here's the problem grammatically. If you stop and you say li yusallam, when most words the last vowel is going to be a dhamma, a fatha, or a kasra. Dhamma, u, fatha, a, kasra, e. But what happens when you don't put anything? You stop. Then that means the next word, you can't stop in that word either. So the next word is as-saghir. No, as-saghir. 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 So grammatically, you have to do something with the first letter that you stop on, because the as-saghir is like a stop in itself. It's like saying el-kitab. It's like saying el-bab. You don't say al-bab. You don't say al-kitab. You say el. You stop on the lam, which is the L sign. So because you can't stop twice when it comes to connecting words and reading the phrase, then the meme takes a kasra when you connect it. So where you originally were saying li yusallim, it becomes li yusallimi. Li yusallimi, because the only way you connect in this case is by making the rest, which is a sukoon, but no vowel, you make it a kasra. So therefore, li yusallimil saghiri, yusallimis, li yusallimus saghiri. Miss, like Mr. the Qab. Li yusallimis, because you're going right into as-saghir. Tayyib. So, li yusallimus saghiri. Li yusallimis saghiri. Everybody. Li yusallimis saghiri. Li yusallimis. ليسلمس الصغير. ما شاء الله. لغة العربية. This is saying it's a command for the younger one to give the salams. Now the Prophet's going to tell you who that younger one has to give salam to. Allah, everybody. Allah, 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 Allah. Allah means it should descend upon him. It should reach him. It should transcend upon that person. That's the meaning here, Allah. He should receive it from the as-saghir, the young one. The Prophet said, al-kabiri, al-kabiri, al-kabiri. Again, together. Ala kabiri.
Ala kabiri.
Ala kabiri.
Ala kabiri.
Ala kabiri.
Ala kabiri.
Alal kabiri.
Ala
Yeah,
kabiri.
because you connected the lam and ala to al kabir. Alal kabiri.
Ala kabiri.
You make the tongue hesitate. Alal kabiri. Alal kabiri.
Ala kabiri.
Alal kabiri.
Ala kabiri.
Very good. So this is the first command in this hadith. لِيُسَلِّمُ الصَّغِيرِ عَلَى الْكِبِيرِ لِيُسَلِّمُ الصَّغِيرِ لِيُسَلِّمُ الصَّغِيرِ. Everybody. لِيُسَلِّمُ الصَّغِيرِ. Again. لِيُسَلِّمُ الصَّغِيرِ. Again. لِيُسَلِّمُ الصَّغِيرِ. Hesitate when you get to صغير. لِيُسَلِّمُ الصَّغِيرِ على الكبير.
Ala kabiri.
على الكبير.
Ala kabiri.
Have to hear that lam. If you say ala kabiri, that's wrong because you stop on the lam and you cut off the alif that's in al kabir. Ala al kabir. Now, so here the Prophet is saying it is an order, it's a command for the younger one to give the salams to the older. The Shaikh was asked Abdul Muhsin, well, what about, because now you're going to go from that to the one who's passing someone who's sitting. That's the next one. The one who's passing and you're sitting. So the question was asked to the Shaykh, what if the one who's passing, he's older? What if each one of these categories the Prophet mentioned isn't complete? They're mixed. As you'll see, the Shaykh said it doesn't make a difference. If the one is passing is older or not, the one who's younger has to give it to the one who's the oldest. And the one who's passing doesn't make a difference. He's older or young, he has to give it. So each one who's doing the action or the first one that's mentioned in the sequence, it's on him. It's on him. Now, so here the first one, the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned in this hadith of Abu Hurairah that the young one give the salams to the older one. Now, if the older one gives it first, because somebody else said, well, what if here younger or smaller means in age, but what if it means in knowledge? Because some people have said that. The one who's bigger is younger in age, but bigger here means he has more knowledge. So he's 28. He memorized the Quran. He memorized Bukhari and Muslim. And I have one juz of Quran, only one portion of the Quran. But I'm older than him in age. When I see him, am I a saghir and he's kabir as it relates to knowledge? Is he superior, greater than me in knowledge? Yes. So should I practice the hadith? Some scholars, they said, no. Because the issue here is still, we're talking about the origin, which is meant the age. They said if the one who has the most knowledge, he's kabir fi ilm, if he doesn't give the salam to the one who's kabir fi sin means your age, sin, or umrah, your age. It said automatically, if he doesn't give salam to the older one because he has more knowledge and the older one feels, let me give salams to him, although he's younger, they said the younger one in his mind is going to think, I'm not going to let that happen again. He's older. He might not say nothing, but the next time he's going to rush to say, Salam alaikum, because he's going to feel bad. Although he has the most knowledge, it's embedded in you that you're younger, he has more right, she has more right. If you have the proper fitrah, the proper embedded thing that Allah has put for you to respect the elders, if you didn't lose it. So this one is important to explain because there are different ways somebody can be saghir, Could be young. It could be young in knowledge, be young in experience. But here we're talking about age. So the Prophet said, لِيُسَلِّمُ الصَّغِيرِ عَلَى الْكِبِيرِ. Everybody. لِيُسَلِّمْ. Now we want to put the kasr on the mean and make it miss. لِيُسَلِّمُ الصَّغِيرِ عَلَى الْكِبِيرِ. Very good. The young one has to give the salam to the older. Sometimes we play this elder game. I'm born at 6:05 today. You're born at 6:04 today. You say, actually, I'm your elder. Almost by 1 minute. This is not the meaning. We talk about elder. We're talking about somebody that's older than you. Even if they have a year older than you, that means they're older than you. But by 1 minute, or, like this, 1 day, you know what I'm saying, a month. But here it's talking about by a year at least. And Allah knows best. Tayyib. The next portion of the hadith, ma-ru. Everybody say ma. 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 Ma-ru. 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 Maru means someone who's passing. Maru. And this is the portion, and another hadith we talk about praying. Prophet prohibit the one who's praying to allow someone and yamaru bayni yadayhi to walk in front of him. Just a couple of days ago, I was in the conversation with my family, and they said, when we made Umrah, may Allah accept from us that Umrah and make it something to rid us from disobedience and make it something to make us closer in obedience to Allah. Ameen. She said, I noticed people were stepping between us, like you're praying. You have someone on the right, someone on the left. Someone needs to get through, they walk between you. And, you could do like this to give them room, or you could stay like this. If they can't get through because you stick to the person and the person sticks to you, then they'll go to the next person, to somebody, leans and they walk through. And this is how they get out. She said, I didn't know you can do that. I said, yeah, because the sin is marra bayni yaday, somebody going in front of you, not between you. So this issue, marru, someone passing you. How many times you've been walking, someone passed you, and he says, Salaam alaikum. And you say, he could have picked me up. Maybe he couldn't have. Oh, he going to give salams to keep on going. You might call him some names or something. Shame on you. Hope it's tire bust or something evil, you say. You're mad, it's hot. And this hadith, you see the Prophet really talking about this reality, because somebody's riding a donkey, a camel, a horse, and somebody's walking. So maru means someone passing. Wal, I'm going to add wa, because the wa is the comma between each thing like we use in English. So wa and maru, al-maru, you're going to say wal-maru, wal-maru. Everybody, wal-maru, 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 ala, 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 ala. And you're going to connect ala with al-qa'idi, the one who's sitting. Al-qa'idi. Don't forget to make the lamb. Al-qa'idi. Al-qa'idi. The ain. Say ah. Ah. You feel in the back of your throat. That's the ain. Qa'idi. 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 Al-qa'idi. 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 Very good. So the second part of the hadith is wal-maru, everybody. Wal-maru. Al-qa'idi. Al-qa'idi. Maru, the one who's passing. Doesn't make a difference. So why can't ala rijli or ala daba? Even if he's on feet. If he's passing, or he or she is in a mode, or on a mode of transportation, passing is passing.
Qa'idi is like me. Ana qa'idun al-an. I'm sitting. We used to hear jalisun, but there's a lot of words in Arabic for sitting. Here the Prophet used qa'idi. So the one who's passing, he's superior over the one who's sitting. He's in motion. Allah has blessed him. He or she is in motion. That's why they have to give the salams to the one who is sitting. Then the Prophet ﷺ mentioned Khalil. There's Kha and Qa. Kha with the dot that looks like Ha and Jim, and there's Qaf with the two dots like a snail with two eyes. This one is the latter one, the Qaf, like Surah Al-Qaf. Qaf wal Qur'anul Kareem, wal Qur'anil Kareem. That was a pronunciation, I changed it. Wal Qur'anil Kareem, because this is swearing by the Qur'an. So Qaf. This Qalilu means the smaller group. Qalilu, not Khalil. Qalilu with a Qaf. Wa, and then you're going to connect it with Khalil. Wal Qalilu.
Wal Qalilu.
Wal Qalilu.
Wal Qalilu.
Wal Qalilu.
Wal Qalilu.
Wal, not Lul. Wal Qalilu.
Wal Qalilu.
Wal Qalilu.
Wal Qalilu.
Wal Qalilu.
Wal Qalilu.
The smaller number, the smaller portion. Ala again means upon, and then you have kathir, like Ibn. Kathir, aywa, kathir means a lot. Hamdan kathiran kathir. Here, alal, remember, alal kathiri. Ala,
Allah.
ala,
Allah.
ala,
Allah.
kathir.
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 The tongue should be tha. Thir. Kathir.
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 When you do the raw, this is a problem I have because I'm not Arab. Sometimes I'm trying to say the raw is miskin. Miskin means poor. You hear it in my throat. It has nothing to do with the throat. It's your tongue. Kathir.
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 Tongue should be up towards the roof of the mouth with the raw. Kathir.
Kathir.
You hear it when you say it right. Wal qalilu.
Wal Qalilu.
Wal qalilu.
Wal Qalilu.
Ala al kathiri.
Ala Kathiri.
Ala al kathiri.
Ala Kathiri.
The smaller group, it's 2 people coming. And there's 10 people sitting down. 10 people look, the 2 people look. Which one, according to this part of the hadith, has to give salams first? The 2 or the 10? The 2? Why? Hum qalilun. They are the minority. Aywa. Now, so this hadith, 3 things. لِيُسَلِّمُ الصَّغِيرِ عَلَى الْكِبِّيرِ. The young one have to give it to the older one. وَالْمَارُ عَلَى الْقَاعِدِ. The one passing, the one who was in motion, has to give it to he or her or them who are sitting. وَالْقَلِيلُ عَلَى الْكَثِيرِ. And the minority, the smaller number to the larger number. وفي رواية عند المسلم والراكب ركعة راكب, not raka'a, that was a slip of the tongue. Like raqib, rakib. Yeah, the one who's riding, rakib.
Doesn't Rakib watchful sees the people like Rakib?
Say again.
Or Rakib or Rakib, watchful, the one who sees the people.
Another word, yeah. والراكب
Rakib.
راكب
Rakib.
راكب
Rakib.
والراكب
Rakib.
والراكب
Rakib.
على
Allah.
Mashi means you're walking on your feet. Mashi. But in Egyptian slang, it means ain't no thing. You ever hear Egyptians say meshi? You pay attention to talk and you might hear him say meshi. Like, if you step on the back of his shoe or you let the door go and almost hit him, you say, oh, I'm sorry, he said meshi. He's saying, ma laysa bi shay. There's no problem. But here, mashi, this is talking about walking on foot. Mashi. You say to the boy, imshi. Yani walk, go ahead. This is mashi, the one who's doing the walking. So, wal raqib, ala al mashi. Now, the one who is riding, the one who is on something or in something, gives it to the one who is on foot. So the one prior, wal maru, passing. Salaam used that because that could mean that you're passing on foot. But raqib means you're on something. So maru, yani, is more general to any type of passing, whether it be on foot or bike or car, truck, skateboard. But raqib, that means something's carrying you. This is more specific. You can't be raqib on feet. But raqib, you can be on top of something, inside of something like this. Something is carrying you. So this, the one who is riding, transportation, the one who's walking. And the other one was the one who's passing, and the other person is sitting. Now, so this is the hadith of Bukhari. Muslim, the extra wording, the one who's riding to the one who's walking, is only in Muslim. The other three, the young one has to give it to the kabir, the one who's older, wal maru ala al qa'idi, the one who's passing to the one who's sitting, wa qalilu ala al kathiri. Those three are both in Bukhari and Muslim. As for the raqib ala al mashi, then this one is, that wording is only in Sahih al-Muslim. So this, you see, this hadith also makes clear the rights of the Muslim. Like the first hadith that Abu Hurairah mentioned, 6. And you can see from this, there's more than 6 rights on the Muslim. He just mentioned that in that hadith, but you can see someone who's older, he has the right on the younger one. That wasn't mentioned in the first hadith. The first hadith was mentioned when you meet the Muslim, give them salams. If they invite you, answer the invitation. Nothing was mentioned about the young one as it relates to the older one, the older one. Nothing was mentioned about the one who's passing as it relates to someone who's sitting. Neither was something mentioned as it relates to the smaller group to the larger group. And definitely nothing was mentioned about someone in motion on transportation or in transportation as it relates to the one who's walking. So all of these are from the rights of the Muslim. The first hadith that we mentioned, although it does not say that, because the Prophet has commanded you in the strong language that the younger one has to give it to the older one, the one who's older, and the one who is passing to the one who's sitting, one who is passing or in a mode of transportation to the one who's walking, and we mentioned the smaller number to the larger number. Now, any questions? So give me an example of the first thing in the hadith, the young given to the older one. Jaami, give me an example.
Get out of my car. There's some brothers sitting in the seating area, some older brothers. It's my obligation, older brothers, it's my obligation to give them the salams before they give me the salams.
MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. What about if he is dirty, he doesn't smell clean, and you get out and you see him? Do you give salams to him, or you say, Akhi, you smell bad, you should take a bath, or do you ignore him? Sometimes presentation affects how people deal and perceive one another. What about if someone is not so well kept. Does that make a difference?
Absolutely not.
Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah. Give me an example, someone, of the one who's passing and someone is sitting. Give me a real life scenario. Anybody, quickly.
At Eid,
An Eid.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
At Eid, football's over, they might be sitting down talking, and you're going to get some record.
An Eid.
Yeah, you just give them some.
Alhamdulillah. At a gathering like Eid,
Right.
passing by people, mashallah. And if they don't hear you, and you did your part, because noise, volume, and so forth, sometimes people might not hear you, but you're practicing that hadith still. Amaru ala qa'idi. One who's sitting, he has that right on you. Someone give me an example of the one who is the smaller group as it relates to a larger group.
Class. We going to a function,
Uh-huh.
and it's
It's
three of
Christian
us.
words.
We going to a function.
A
and,
function? What kind of function?
They recite Quran,
Okay.
and we going and we come into the parking lot. We go to the parking lot, and it's a group of believers, new means. The smaller group we should give them our salam first, because we seen them.
Okay, alhamdulillah. What about, you said going to a function. Suppose somebody's going to a concert, a club. We're going to keep it real now.
Okay.
Muslims go to clubs, Allah musta'an. Muslims, and they go to these places, they're haram, but Muslims go. But let's say it's, 7 people
Okay.
going to the club, and they see 2 people they know that's from their neighborhood. Should the 2 people give the 7 people the salams, or the 7 people give the 2 the salams?
Well, according to the hadith,
And this is what we want, according to the hadith.
according to the hadith, the smaller group will always give the salam to the bigger group.
So which number we'll give it? The 2 or the 7
The
give
2.
it? The 2, okay. What about if one of them has a, Allahumma musta'an, I'm going to imitate it. What if one of them have a cigarette in his mouth? La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. These are real life scenarios, because we're talking about practicing deen.
I mean,
So let's say that out of the 7, one of them smoking a cigarette. They all wrong because they shouldn't be in the club. But one of them smoking a cigarette.
yes, sir.
Another one owe you money,
Yes, sir.
and the other 5, they just dressed looking crazy.
Well,
Do the 2 walk past them
no.
regardless, or do they give them salam?
They give them salam, and hopefully that it bring them back to the mindful of Allah.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Remember that when you see somebody off the chain and he's Muslim, and you're the minority and they're the majority, give them the salam. Don't say, man, I'm not giving them salams. They out of it. Give them salams, according to this hadith. What about the one who's riding and the one who is on foot? What if you're riding and you see a sister on foot? It's clear she's a sister. She's the only one in the street, 100 degrees, with a jilbab and a kimar. She can't be a nun. She's definitely not a Jew. And on top of that, one of your children say, oh, look, that's Sister Fatima. Do you give her salam? Do you blow at her, do like this? Do you throw up, as they say, deuces, which that's another talk. Is deuces considered salam? You can say to somebody, deuces, and it's salam. Do you say, well, she's a sister, I can't give her salam? What do? You're riding past a sister, you see clearly she's a Muslim. Do you give her salam, or you don't give her salam? You don't give her salam.
You don't. I've seen I salam whoever Muslim, I salam you. If I can aid you, I aid you.
According to this hadith, do you give her salam? We're looking, let's clean our minds. We're working, we're learning how to apply the text.
Now,
The Prophet give you something that's in front of you, how do you apply it? According to this hadith, do you give that sister salam if you are riding and she's walking?
yes.
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 Now.
According to this hadith.
Yes.
Yeah. Now.
What if somebody in the car disagrees with you? What if your wife says, why did you just give that sister salam? You ain't supposed to be talking to women. What if she goes there? I'm not trying to start nothing.
Well,
Hope none of the
that's
brothers'
after the
wives are
fact.
here.
That's after the fact. You already gave the salam.
No, I mean
You have to know.
it
You have to
didn't
explain
say
your situation.
different. It ain't. If you go by the hadith, it don't give no no difference.
Wait a minute, we
when
can't. We're not.
actually-
We want to make sure we respect each person on the floor. Quickly,
It doesn't differentiate between. It says if a person is
passing,
and then
riding. The one is walking.
walking is my obligation. If I'm riding to Salam, that Mu'min.
Okay, the movement. Okay, okay. Tell you, somebody was saying over here.
I mean, everything with hikmah, still your wife has a right over you. You have there's jealousy, there's things like that. One is not it's not forward that you have to.
It's not far.
That's what I'm asking. I'm asking then, is it a?
Did you come in the beginning of the class?
No, I was. Probably
Okay, you missed the
5
big
minutes
chunk
after.
of the pie. Is it fard according to, and for those who don't know the Islamic terminology, fard, it means binding on you. According to this hadith, in the beginning of the hadith, is it fard or recommended?
Far into this amana.
It's an amr.
Ooh, mashallah. And how many emphases is it? 1 or 2?
Well, what you mean?
In the command form, how many times, how many ways is it emphasized? We said lam amr, and then the word itself, yusallim, is command form. So that's how many emphases? The lamb and the word. How many?
2.
2.
Then I still have a question.
Okay.
So
So what you gonna do with your wisdom now?
no, I'm just
Your
asking,
prophet
just-
commands you.
No, it's just asking
But ain't nobody around. You got this hadith in front of you.
No,
We
so-
talk about application. I'm gonna answer you,
Yeah,
but we look at what the prophet said.
right.
Let's repeat the hadith again. Liyusallam.
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 We said li is command. That lam is for commanding. It's called lam amr. If that lam is attached to a word, you gotta do it. Then the prophet said yusallim. He didn't say yusallimu, yusallima, yusallimi. He said yusallim, and he stopped. Any word that has the sukoon on the end that's a verb, that means it's a command form in most cases. So you have 2 emphases. The prophet said, as-saghiru ala al-kibiri. The young one has to give it to the old one. Wal-maru ala qa'idi. The one who's passing to the one who's sitting. Wal-qalilu ala al-kithiri. The minority, the smaller group to the majority. And then lastly, this part that we're on now, ماذا والراقب على الماشي, the one who's riding, the one who's walking. According to this hadith, do you give the salams regardless if you're passing and somebody is walking?
Yes.
Yes, according to the hadith. Now, somebody else may want to debate this, that, but we've been commanded to follow who? Allah and who? His messenger. Anyone. And who cares nothing about somebody's feelings or somebody's this or that when you're practicing a clear text. And this shows you that a deen is yusran, the deen is easy. Nah, the deen is easy. Nah. As for haqq zawj ala zawjah, or haqq bayna zawjain, the rights of the wife and the husband, the rights of the husband and the wife, this has nothing to do with it, unfortunately. And this is why this class is so important, because we don't know the mannerism. Somebody might mix it up with, this is my right, well, I'm your wife, or how could you do that in front of me? La. We're talking about clean Islam. Nafsu Shaykh, we turn the tables. You're riding in a car. It's 8 of y'all. Y'all riding deep. Hope y'all ain't leaning. Because we Muslim. Sometimes Muslim be leaning, And my wife is walking. And all y'all know, this is my wife. When I ride past my wife, I say, well, that's the Shaykh wife. Don't give her salam. Or do y'all give salam? Salam alaikum. You don't have to say, her name, Sister Aziza, or Ta'am, the lady who sell food, or Abdurrahman, her nickname. You could just give salam. It's up to you. Do you ride past her on the tip that, nah, man, it's the Shaykh wife, out of respect, you know what I'm saying? Or you give salams according to this hadith.
Give salams for this hadith.
Absolutely.
Alhamdulillah. So this, and we talk about aqidah,
That's the asking
belief.
question.
We talk about manhaj, methodology. Hada huwa. This is it. Tafaddal.
So that's the question I was gonna have in the beginning. So, if you say back in the day you were on horseback or something like that, you're not galloping through the streets at full speed, at full pace. You're more trotting, people walking, you're walking, you can talk to them. But does that mean you're in a car and you're driving, and you're going down the road 30, 40 miles an hour, and you're saying it's far? I mean, I have to think of this in my head a little bit at the same time the question. Do I then slow down every person I see, like them, and then speed back up, and then slow down, like them, and speed up, and disrupt traffic? That's why I'm asking. I'm asking, how do you apply it, like, realistically in a scenario? Like I say, if it was horseback, I know I'm going maybe 5 miles an hour, 6, 7, something like that. I'm not galloping at full speed. But if I'm out here on Gervais and I'm blowing down the road 40 miles an hour, am I going to slow down a second and like disrupt traffic? So I go and then speed back up.
What's your name?
It's Anwar, brother.
Barakallah
I'm
fiik.
just asking,
Jazakallah
that's
khair.
all.
Ya akhi, barakallah fikum. La bas, inshallah. Question is an okay question, but we say practical. And some people, not directly towards you, but
No,
some
I'm
people,
saying-
they feel Islam isn't practical. We said back in the day, the people on the horse, and people ride horses pretty fast, and some trot, yeah. But here, the Salaam's speech is clear. He just said, Raqib, whoever's riding. There's a rule in the deen, that you do what you're able to do.
That's what I'm saying.
But
That's
I'm
what I was asking,
explaining.
yeah.
It's way, inshallah. Listen a little bit, be patient with me. So, when we talk about listen to the hadith, the main thing we want to understand is what the Prophet is saying. That's the first thing. The second thing, it's for us to take that hadith and put it in our circumstance. Because the deen is for all times. Although people say it's not, it is. So, if you're flying down the highway doing 80, there's no way you're going to give salam to somebody who's on the side of the road. You're going to pass him too fast. Unless you see him from a distance and you're already slowing down. But if we're talking about within reason, you're in Gervais, you're in the city, you're riding, and somebody said, look, that's so-and-so, and you look, and you could say, Salaam alaikum. Yeah, but I mean, nobody's going to like jam on brake. We don't love the Muslims that much, first of all. Let's be true. Nobody going to jam on brakes, pull over to give somebody salam. Hopefully we'll get that kind of love in the heart. Secondly, nobody's going to put themselves in harm's way like that, even if you love the Muslim, because we're talking about two different things. Passing, seeing them, being able to give salams, and passing them and not giving them salams. So everything is based on ability. Everything is based on ability. So that rule should answer the question. No harm's way. This is prohibited in Islam. And that's practicality too. Not to put yourself in harm's way, but that's from the religion. Sometimes Allah musta'an, brothers might almost have an accident looking at something they ain't supposed to look at. Allah musta'an. And harm's way don't even cross a person's mind. Brother might say, SubhanAllah, did you see that? Then he tell you, look at that, huh? How you gonna tell somebody look at the haram? Allah musta'an. And she got on tight this and that, and you already, it's a fitna for her. You look and say, SubhanAllah, you should say Astaghfirullah. Then you tell the brother, Dan, did you see that? Look at that. I would have. So of course people have to use common sense. There you are. That's a good word. So that's a good question.
That's why I asked, because
Yes.
when people hear far is far, it's like
No,
it's
but
far.
yeah,
So
that's
why-
true. That's true. But
within,
again,
within
yeah.
reason. Is,
Yeah, but it's still far.
right, exactly.
But you do what you can do.
within, yeah.
Yeah. The far is you do what you can do, and we're not talking about on the highway, of course. We're talking about in the city or the village or the countryside where it's practical. You going pass by and you could see somebody and know they Muslim. Of course, the high speed, people probably don't even see the cop. They going so fast. Did 91 past the cop, flying? You ain't seeing no Muslim. So yes, alhamdulillah. Barakallahu feekum. Any questions? Good questions. What time is it? Okay, take. So inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala, we'll stop with the hadith, and inshallah ta'ala, we want to try, lastly, to see if we can get some people to help with the handout. And even if we meet for an hour on one day or an hour and a half. Somebody that can type in English. I'm going to try to find somebody who could do it in Arabic. Dictating for me, that being that I can't see, is difficult. It takes like hours, and then you got to delete, erase, and get mad and try to keep from throwing your iPad across the room. And it's a lot of challenges, But we need the board, and I'm going to talk with Brother Anwar about technical stuff, because if we get a board, then we're going to need a mic that I could, talk in where everybody can hear. It's going to be at the board, and we're going to need some type of camera or lenses on the phone, if we use the phone, to zoom in so that the people online can see, inshallah ta'ala. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. جزاكم الله خير. Finish.